Welcome to another episode of the Area 210 podcast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast to you live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
All right, there we go.
Very nice. What's going on, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Area 210 podcast coming at you from the west side of San Antonio. My name is Mike Jimenez. I'm in studio with Joe Garcia. Joe, how are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing good, man. You know, I'm going to start this off with what's the media share number, Joe? Well, we're going to go ahead and put that on there, but
yeah,
I'm going to share something that came through here yesterday, which I thought was pretty funny. I didn't get to it till now.
Oh, yeah. Dude, okay, so proof that I've been a Spurs fan my entire life. This is me with some friends at the 1999 NBA Finals at the Alamo Dome. And, of course, we were excited after the Spurs victory. This was the one victory where we knew the Spurs were going to win the finals in New York. It wasn't coming back. It wasn't coming back. This was the last game at the Alamo Dome before the Spurs won their first title. So, yeah, that was my excitement after the game.
How old were you here, dude?
I was 22 years old. That's 22-year-old Jimenez. That was 26 years ago and about 50 pounds ago, man.
You're kind of looking a little thin there. You were athletic. You were athletic there,
dude. That was the Michael that ran like a 5:45 mile, dude.
Oh,
back in my sack days. No, let's see. I was 22 years old. I was already at Texas State at that point, or what was called Southwest Texas State. Here we go for about an hour and a half talking sports, pop culture, and obviously some nostalgia. You can be part of the show multiple ways. First and foremost, by liking the show. Hit the like button now.
Yeah.
Secondly, you can leave a chat.
Yeah.
You can leave a chat. As Jason Garcia says, I'm pomegranate Mike today because of my shirt, my Tommy Bahama. I basically have this shirt in about 10 different colors because that's what they sell in the Woodlands.
Yeah.
You can also leave a comment, right? But you can also be part of the media share with us. You can text us 830-391-9164. That's 830-391-9164. If you see a story that you like, an image, a photo,
video,
something that you would like for us to address, you could text us the link, and if we like it, we'll put it on the show, and it's part of the interactive experience of being part of the Area 210 podcast. But I like being back in town, Joe. It's going to be a brief visit because I have some client meetings today. Going to be going to Las Vegas tomorrow and then Laughlin, Nevada for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, Joe. So I might need a co-host on Monday as well to come in for me. But tomorrow we're going to have DJ LG in the house. He does a fantastic job. Did a show with him for the first time a couple of weeks ago. But again, we're having fun today, dude. It's a fun day. It's my Friday. So can I say it, Joe?
Yeah.
Can I say it?
Go ahead. Say it.
Okay. Because normally you say it's Friday and I don't give a damn, right? But today is my Friday. So who did it work, Joe?
I didn't hear nothing. You have to click on the koala. You see how it says that little sound mixer?
Oh, yeah.
Just click on it and then push the button.
See, it's all this technology that Joe.
We got a moron.
Okay, so that goes on.
Lie detector test determined that was a lie.
I see the way this is done.
I don't give a damn.
Okay, so now I see how, Joe, you did it. So what I've got to do is I've got to move it around because this is vertical, but this is horizontal.
Yeah, so I put it with that. So if you push the button there,
I don't give a damn.
Okay, it didn't work the first time.
You have to click on that little window.
Then
it'll work.
So if I click on this window and try it, it doesn't work, but I have to activate it by.
I don't give a damn.
There you go.
You see, it's on the job training here at the Area 210 podcast. Joe bringing out his toys, but it is my Friday.
I don't give a damn.
And that's right. We're going to have fun talking sports, pop culture, nostalgia. What are we talking about today? Today we are talking about the NBA Finals. Game 1 tonight between the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder. Vegas believes, Joe, that this is going to be a blowout, right?
Yeah.
I've already made my prediction early on. We're going to get Joe's prediction. I want to hear your predictions to those who are listening to 210 podcasts. Secondly, we're going to talk about these NBA trade rumors involving the Spurs. We've heard of Giannis. We've heard of Kevin Durant. Now, Chris Mannix, I believe, of Yahoo Sports is throwing one out there, and it is like fresh meat for Spurs fans because they start debating it all, right?
Yeah.
This one has no legs, though. There has been no credible sources to it, but everyone's talking these days on Spurs Twitter about Jalen Brown as a potential Spur. Okay.
I saw that.
Again, no credibility to it all. But we can entertain the idea which one is true, which one's actual, which one's factual, which one is not. And do you give any belief that the Spurs are even entertaining any of these ideas? So we'll get into that as well. Again, the NBA draft less than 3 weeks away. We're going to talk about Michelle Beadle. Michelle Beadle having beef. That's San Antonio's own Michelle Beadle having beef with Stephen A. Smith. Apparently, Stephen A. took her time slot, and Beadle did not hold back.
No.
Speaking of that holding back, we're probably going to start the show with this. Shaquille O'Neal was on New Heights, the #1 podcast in all of the country, on New Heights, talking about his favorite moments as being part of TNT's, what was it called, Inside the NBA?
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, no longer on TNT, making its way over to ESPN. Speaking of Beadle, dude, she mentioned Bill Simmons's podcast about this transition. And Beadle agrees with Bill Simmons in saying that she believes that Inside the NBA is going to fail on ESPN because the way ESPN does their segments are so short. When you're on TNT, you have these long 10, 15, 20-minute long segments, and then they go to commercial, and it allows them to interact with each other. But ESPN does rapid-fire segments, right?
Yeah.
Say that they're not going to have the same types of personalities there.
They're going to go ahead and they have to go and pay the bills over there because they have to pay all the talking heads like Stephen A. Smith.
Like Stephen A., maybe.
You know, so what is going to happen is I think they're going to have to go ahead and go the way of the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah.
Where they go ahead and have the little aspects that you see on TV. But if you want to see the other viewing experience, you have to go to ESPN Plus or some type of live stream. You know,
I like what Jordan Schneider says here on our chat line here, powered by MCS General Contracting, saying the KD rumors feel legit like Fox did. Let's talk Spurs first and foremost, and then we'll go off into the whole Shaquille O'Neal thing on New Heights. The latest rumor, Chris Mannix, I believe of Yahoo Sports, if I'm not mistaken, saying that, you know what, it would be a good idea for the Spurs to kick the tires on the Boston Celtics, Jalen Brown. I like Jalen Brown a lot, dude. You and I have argued back and forth who's the true alpha on that team.
Yeah.
Tatum gets the love, but Jalen Brown's the one who has the ball in his hands at the last 5 seconds of each game. The idea is by Chris Mannix saying the Spurs should do this and offer Boston, because Boston has been talking about blowing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? They've been talking about blowing it up, offering 3 players and 2 draft picks for him. So the 2 draft picks being the number 2 pick, which is going to be Dylan Harper, the number 14 pick, which is the last pick in the lottery, offering Harrison Barnes, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, and maybe even Keldon Johnson for a 28-year-old Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown coming in with a $59 million contract. Joe, Jalen Brown's an all-star. He is a perennial all-star. He's a super talent. I dare you say he might even be better than Kevin Durant. Last season, averaging 22.6 rebounds, 4.5 assists, shot 46.3% from the field. Has an excellent, Joe, EFG, which I'm a big fan of.
Actually, so he can actually shoot the ball?
It's not excellent. You know, he's only a 32% shooter this year, but he's career at 36% three-point shooter. Career EFG at 54%. Career a pretty decent player. But Jalen Brown at 28 years old, for all of that, Joe, would be ridiculous. Absolutely asinine to believe that would be the case. Not because it's not a talented move. I mean, don't get me wrong. What would that leave the Spurs? That would leave the Spurs with Stephon Castle, right? It would leave the Spurs with Wemby. It would leave the Spurs with De'Aaron Fox. So you'd essentially have a De'Aaron Fox, Jalen Brown, Wemby. I guess you could say Castle, and then whoever you want to have as a big man down low, starting as a starting 5.
Vujicic.
That's a very good. That's a very good lineup, Joe. It's top heavy. There's nobody behind. There's no depth. There's no bench, and everybody else would basically be role players at that point, right? That would get you into the playoffs. And Jalen Brown at 28 is better than a 36, 37-year-old Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant might have better stats, but again, time catches up to everybody. Then
Yeah,
you have the ideas that Giannis is going to be out there.
Jeff is coming in here and he's saying, he goes, you know that Jalen Brown and San Antonio thing is not a rumor. It's just Mannix's opinion.
Yeah, and I completely I preface that. Okay, because there's no credible sources in on that at all. But it's funny because that chum gets thrown into the water, and like sharks Spurs fans just jump all over it and start debating it, right? Which got me thinking, Joe, of all the ones that we're looking at here, Kevin Durant, Giannis, Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown's probably the one that has least credibility at all. I don't believe that that's happening at all. In your heart of hearts, Joe, do you believe that there's actual movement being done at the Rocket La Cantera towards the Spurs going after Kevin Durant or going after Giannis? Do you think the Spurs are actually truly entertaining the idea of putting forth an offer?
I think if anything has credibility to it, the offer for Giannis is going to garner them to give up a lot, right? And I think right now the Spurs aren't willing to give up their future for a short-term gain, right? So the one that makes more sense to me would be Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant can be had for maybe that 14th pick. Maybe you go ahead and give Harrison Barnes up. Maybe you give him Devin Vassell. Maybe Keldon Johnson. You can move pieces there, right? And that makes more sense.
So let's talk to the people who have the F them picks mentality. Yeah. Okay, like Chris Lay of MCS General Contracting. They want Giannis bad. Yeah. They want to mortgage the future for Giannis. They're basic, and I understand the mentality. The mentality is Brian Wright has been doing all these trades and wheeling and dealing over the years in order to get this war chest of trade assets, right? We have a swap with Atlanta. We have a future 2027 pick with Atlanta. I believe we have a Boston pick. We have swaps in the future. We have our own first round draft picks. Go ahead and mortgage the future for Giannis, right? Because if you have Wemby and Giannis on the roster together, along with the De'Aaron Fox, you're obviously going to make the playoffs. You're obviously going to be one of the teams considered to be a front runner for a run at the NBA Finals, right? Yeah. I get that, Joe. But at what cost? Right. And for a 2-year window. Right. Yeah. And some Spurs fans are like, hey, just get the 2026, 2027 championship and make it done. And then we'll figure it out later. We'll still have Wemby.
Yeah.
The other idea. So I want to ask this to people who are there for F them picks mentality. F them picks mentality. Kevin Durant for 2 years. He's still good. What did he average last year? Like 27 points per game. Yeah. Kevin Durant is somebody who, is a bucket getter.
But is he going to be able to shoot outside of 10, 15 feet?
Who?
Giannis. I'm not. Oh, Kevin Durant. Yes, he can shoot.
Durant can't shoot worth a crap. He is what Keldon Johnson wished and hoped that he would be.
So Kevin Durant can shoot the ball.
Yeah,
Kevin Durant can shoot the ball. The problem is Giannis is more of an inside presence in the paint, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at the Spurs and you're like, okay, you need somebody that can go ahead and kind of space the floor and give you a bit of an inside presence, help maybe block a shot or two and be able to give you more point production. That would be Kevin Durant.
Giannis is 6'11", Keldon Johnson.
He's good inside the paint.
Keldon Johnson is what, 6'5", 6'4", 6'5"? In his heart of hearts, if he was 6 inches taller, he'd probably be Giannis or Giannis light.
Giannis will give you a presence inside the paint. That's no doubt. Help you, bang the boards, get the rebounds and all that. Maybe help with the shot blocking where Wemby is going to be more of a perimeter type of player. But the problem is that he's not going to be able to shoot and he's going to require a lot of touches to get his points.
Now, Kevin Durant is, as mentioned over here, who's the person who mentioned that Kevin Durant is only 1 year left? Taco Tuesday saying that Kevin Durant's on the final year of his deal, right? $54.7 million. I think that's the player the Spurs should go for. Because you can keep Dylan Harper at the number 2 pick because they're not going to trade. The Spurs would be foolish to trade the number 2 pick in the draft for a 1-year rental in Kevin Durant. But if you brought Kevin Durant over in this $54 million contract, a couple of things happen. You get to keep the 14 pick. You get somebody for Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
And you get rid of a contract in Keldon Johnson. And then at the end of 1 year, all that money matures into cap space.
Yeah.
Right? You have somebody for 1 year who shot 53% from the field. Kevin Durant shot 52.7% from the field last year, which is higher than his career average. So you can say, yeah, he's old, but he's 36 years old now, 37 years old when the season starts next season. Shot 43% from 3, which is higher than his career average, which is 39%, 84% from the field goal line, free throw line rather, and 60% EFG last year, Joe. He shot better as a 36-year-old than he's ever had in his entire life.
Yeah.
he's still in his prime in a weird way because the NBA body is different. Kevin Durant for 1 year, the 14 pick, Harrison Barnes, the Toyota Corolla, Keldon Johnson, or Devin Vassell.
Gone.
Dude, in a heartbeat, you make that happen. This should be the number one priority for the Spurs because, again, you have Victor Wembanyama on the team who wants to be Kevin Durant in his heart of hearts. He wants to look like Kevin Durant. He wants to play like Kevin Durant. Then give him Kevin Durant for a year. No different than the fact that Castle had Chris Paul. Give him Kevin Durant for 1 year, and you're going to make the playoffs. Because the team, Joe, look at this roster, Joe. Let's say that you have Wemby, Durant, Harper, Castle, and Fox on the floor at one time. Dude, that would give me a throbbing sense in my chones. Okay,
like you downed a couple Blue Chew.
I downed a couple of Blue Chew, dude. That would be a throbbing moment for Spurs fans because that right there is a very, very good lineup. And then you'd have maybe Sohan backing him up. You'd have Champagny. You'd have maybe bring back Mamu on a friendly deal. That's a very appetizing, good deal, right? You know that Durant likes to chase rings. He did it twice before with Golden State. He joined a 73-9 team. He's towards the end of his career. This is a proper move for the Spurs because it frees up future cap space, because it doesn't give up Dylan Harper. You get those F them picks guys on board because they're going to look at Kevin Durant and go, well, God, we got Kevin Durant. It's amazing.
Yeah, but the thing is that if you get a Kevin Durant caliber player, right, you get Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. The consensus is you're going to go further than just a play-in. You're actually going to contend at this point. That means getting past the first round of the playoffs. When will that actually happen?
Yes, with that lineup?
With that lineup, because this is the thing. You have a veteran in one, Harrison Barnes, but if you get Kevin Durant, he's out the door, along with Devin Vassell. Gone. The number 14th pick, gone. So you have a couple guys there that maybe don't have a playoff experience.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big question mark. It's still a roll of the dice, but the roll of the dice here in the draft is if the Spurs stand pat and they have that number 14 pick, which is rumored that they're looking at Asa Newell. Not bad.
USA Today said that yesterday.
I wouldn't mind that, but that's a project.
It is a project. I think he's NBA ready, but not like NBA ready to take the world by storm. He's NBA ready to not make an ass out of himself.
Yeah,
is what that is. But I believe that if I was Brian Wright, the one free agent you go after, not a free agent, the one trade target that you go after is Kevin Durant. That's the guy you go to. Sam Salinas reaches out and says, well, what about injury potential? Well, he played more games than Wemby. He played more games than Sohan. Last year, Kevin Durant, 62 games. He played 75 games the year before. He had injury seasons in 2022 and 2023 when he played just 47 games and 55 games in those respective years. He played 35 games back in 2021. So he did have 3 years of injury type years, but the last 2 years he's been fine. He's been perfectly fine the last 2 years.
Taco Tuesday says I would be taking straight shots of Zima with that lineup.
Oh, I would be too, Joe. I would be too.
Ooh.
Oh, Joe. It's an interesting season. The Spurs are 2.5 weeks away, less than 3 weeks away from the NBA draft.
Yeah.
All of this is going to happen before then, because if you're going to trade Dylan Harper, the number 2 pick, wouldn't you want to trade him before the draft? If you're going to trade for Kevin Durant, wouldn't you want to trade for him before the draft? Because if you're trading the number 14 pick, you're going to need to know who the hell do you want at 14, right?
Yeah.
The trading partner, who do they want? That's the exciting part. So there's going to be a lot going on with the Spurs when it comes to it all, man.
And look, we have a question being asked here by Jeff Garcia. He says, Joe, why do a San Antonio Spurs fan think everything is a rumor? He goes, when most of the times it's just someone speculating or giving opinions. That's an interesting question there, because regardless of whether it's a rumor or somebody just speculating, Jeff's going to be talking about it, and so are we.
Well, I think part of it is because the Spurs fans are desperate. I'm desperate as a Spurs fan. It's been 6 years since a winning record.
It doesn't mean everything you have out there has legs. You know, you're going to hear a lot of speculation from people that are, you know, supposed insiders hearing, oh, I'm hearing chatter about this. I'm hearing chatter about that. And the thing is right now that the way that the Spurs are structured right now, you know, as far as what cap space that they have, their name's going to be flying out there a lot with a lot of these guys that are in free agency because the Spurs can go ahead and assume that contract.
I like how everyone is agreeing with JHNSB, with Sam, with all of us that we've said this before. On obvious picks, Brian Wright does the right thing.
Yeah.
It's the questionable picks because we've seen Luka Samanic, we've seen Josh Primo, we've seen Jeremy Sohan, we've seen failed picks. There's some people who will hold out hope on Sohan, and I hope that I'm wrong about Sohan. I hope that he fixes his shot and all that stuff. But at number 9 in the lottery, to get a project player was brutal.
Yeah.
Defensively, he's a very good player, and maybe he does develop. Jeremy Sohan would benefit from getting a Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
because
probably.
he would, because you know what Jeremy Sohan would be told to do? Get your ass inside. And the Spurs getting Dylan Harper would have Wemby get his ass inside. Not every play.
Look at what Tony Arnal is saying. He goes, this draft is deep. I wouldn't mind giving up the number 14th pick for Durant. He's turning 37 years old, but a 37-year-old Kevin Durant is a better version of Devin Vassell.
Much better. Ooh, do we have a super chat?
We've got a super chat coming in here. Super chat.
Oh, can I do the honors?
Yeah, let's
Here
go
comes
ahead.
the money.
Here we go.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
There you go.
Jonathan Pettis says, Jimenez finally in studio. Would y'all have a live draft party? I'm in Arizona surrounded by lame-ass Suns fans. I hate to say it, Jonathan. I was a Suns fan growing up. They were my second favorite team. They were my Sancha team growing up because one of my favorite players growing up was Kevin Johnson. I still have that jersey. Doesn't fit at all. It doesn't fit. But I still have that jersey that I wore in high school. I wore that jersey like once a week to Holmes High School back in the day. We're talking about a draft party of some sort. Maybe, Joe, we do but you're working, so we got to figure this out. Maybe we get LG in the mix or something,
Or
where we have a draft podcast.
you can bring in a special guest. You know, maybe you could go ahead and bring in, like, I don't know, a Pledger was available or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And kind of do a live stream or something. You could do like a reaction video, you know, of you reacting with the fans, but then afterwards, maybe get Pledger on. Y'all can kind of do an impromptu live stream,
Very
reacting
nice.
or talking about it.
I'm excited. Again, the draft is just less than 3 weeks away. Spurs on the clock at number 2, on the clock at number 14. Will those picks be traded? We'll know in the next 2.5, 3 weeks or so. So Inside the NBA is coming to an end. At least the TNT version of it's going to ESPN. And so you have what? Charles, Kenny, Chuck.
Yeah.
Is Ernie going too?
Ernie's going too. You see, the thing is all these guys, some of them said, oh, I'm not going. It's not going to be the same. But what ESPN did was kind of dumb in a way, because they go, we're going to go ahead and bring the show. We paid to go ahead and have the rights to, you know, to go ahead and keep the show in its, I guess, in its current iteration, right? In rendition, whatever it is right now. They're going to keep them in the same studio. They're going to keep their same staff. They're going to be in Atlanta, but they're going to go ahead and be streamed on ESPN.
Right.
But the thing with that is, like we just said, with TNT, they had a lot of leadway there, right? Because they were the main focus, right? So they had sponsors sponsoring segments inside the NBA,
Which allowed it to breathe.
a little bit.
I wasn't a fan of the show.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of Inside the NBA was fun the first 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? But the last 3 or 4 years, to me, Joe, it got old, man. It was the same talk.
The same shtick.
There's the same shtick all the time. And there was nothing going on. You know what killed it for me? What killed it was when they announced Nikola Jokic as the MVP, and you have Shaq and Chuck going up there saying that he didn't deserve it. It's like the guy was just honored, man. And you're telling him to his face that he didn't deserve it. Why? Why would anybody do that? That was Bush League, Joe. But we all have fond memories of it.
Yeah.
And Shaquille O'Neal was on the New Heights podcast with the Kelsey brothers, Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey. And I'm going to play a part of it because they asked the question, his favorite moments of Inside the NBA.
Where is it? You got it up right now?
Yes, I do.
I don't see it on the screen.
I have it on my screen.
I'm looking at your screen. I don't see nothing.
Maybe I have to take these down and pull these up. We're learning on the fly here.
Look, this is what I see on your screen right now.
Oh, Joe, no. So do you only see Safari? Like
Not
I
Safari.
have I have ESPN up. Do you see ESPN?
Hold on, let me see if I can get it.
See, we're on the fly here, trying to figure
No,
things
that's
out.
all I see right now.
Huh.
I don't see anything.
So maybe by putting this thing in, it took out the ability to share the.
No, I just don't
internet.
see the browser up. Looks like it's frozen in time.
Can you hear this?
I was talking about the women from San Antonio.
Okay, so let's go ahead and at least play that. And if it may be in the background.
Is it on your X? Do you have it on your X?
No.
Okay.
I could.
Yeah, put on the X and then we'll go ahead and share it that way because I still have my screen capability here.
On the fly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it as yours, Joe. So it's going to be in your X.
All right.
So it's yours right now.
Let's see what I got here.
So again, we're learning all this this different technology, how it all works together. So we apologize for that. But again, on New Heights with Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce, they interviewed Shaquille O'Neal. It was a very funny interview. If you didn't check it out,
I got the TikTok pulling up right now.
And they were asking the question, "What's your favorite moment?" So let's see if we can get Joe to get it up there.
And there it is. Let's go ahead and play the audio. They need to turn it up. So hold on.
All right. Hope that's better. All right, let's go ahead and get it. Just can't hear it.
Can't hear it.
All right, so apologies for that. Again, we're trying to figure out all the technology. We have lots of moving parts going on right now. But Charles Barkley, he is talking about the women of San Antonio, how fat they are, things like that, the big women of San Antonio. Shaquille O'Neal says that was actually the number one highlight, the number one moment of that show.
Yeah.
So how funny is that, Joe? How funny is it that after all these years and all this the shtick that they had and all the different things that they said, that at the end of the day, what Shaquille O'Neal says is the best thing they ever did was make fun of the women of San Antonio?
Yeah.
Joe, your thoughts?
Oh, it was funny, and we can hear it now.
What's your favorite moment on TNT?
Charles talking about the women from San Antonio.
Oh my gosh.
If you haven't seen Charles talking about women from San Antonio, here's a clip right here.
I think it's a great city. I think they got the best organization in NBA, but they do have some big old women down there. I mean, come on now.
See what you do to him every time you go down.
I'm telling you, man. They be whooping them children.
None of those.
Hey, but none of those.
I'm sure living in San Antonio, you saw it from a completely different angle, but that's hilarious.
We had a moment one time where they never call us in for pregame and tell us what they're gonna do. But I get the phone one day, emergency meeting. So we get there like 2:00, show's not till 7. You got all the big wigs come down. And it was like, Charles, you're talking about the women from San Antonio. We need you to apologize. So Charles says, okay. He's like, okay, I'm sorry. So we get to the show and Ernie starts the show and he's like, Ernie, can I say something? He said, you know what? I like to joke around and talk about the people from San Antonio, but if you think I'm going to apologize, you got a whole other thing coming. And just went on. I'm telling you now, if you think I'm going to apologize, hell going to freeze over. You ain't got to like the show. You can fire me right now. I'm going to get paid in my car. Oh, he just went on. I was like, oh, my God, this is the best thing ever. I'm not apologizing for nothing. San Antonio is a great town. And y'all know y'all got some big old women. You know I just be joking. And he just...
I enjoyed every moment of that, dude. Where is the lie when it comes to it all? There is no lie. You know, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken Spy was trying to bait me on Twitter yesterday by I basically said, don't make me say it, right? People were debating whether or not the city of San Antonio could have a baseball team. No. City of San Antonio would fail miserably as a baseball town. MLB comes to San Antonio, would be a disaster. Okay. And I will say that because it is true. You know why it's true?
Yeah.
People complain about going to a UTSA football game saying, well, we wanted to be in the Alamo Dome. Why, Joe? What's the reason? What reason why they wanted the Alamo Dome? Because it's air conditioned.
Yeah.
And that is in September and October. You're telling me the city of San Antonio would have people go out in the sun in 102 degrees to watch a baseball game in July, in June, in August? No. Baseball would fail miserably in San Antonio, MLB or not. NFL, however, the city of San Antonio would support an NFL team, and I truly 100% believe it. It's only 8 or 9 games. We love the NFL. But the problem is that people are asking the question, well, why doesn't it always happen? Is it because of Jerry Jones? It's because of a variety of things. The Spurs don't want an NFL team here because the Spurs will take the back seat to any NFL team. If there was such a thing as a San Antonio Spurs basketball team and a San Antonio NFL team like the Saints or whomever, San Antonio Jaguars, right? The Jaguars moved to San Antonio. The Spurs would be an afterthought, Joe, because the NFL's king. The NFL is king. And the Spurs know that. There's not enough dollars in San Antonio, which is why the Spurs go to Austin to get that Dell money. They go out there to get that Tesla money, right?
Look at what one of our viewers is saying. Welcome to the party, by the way, Wesley Perkins. He's an old friend of mine. We used to do Spurs React together with Chris, the great Chris Duell, over in WOAI 1200 AM. I need to bring him on the show because Wesley's going to he's off right now in the summer. He's a band teacher.
Oh, nice.
At McCullum, I think it was.
Nice.
So welcome to the show. And he's saying
Cowboys.
MLB to shared ATX SA market would be highly successful.
A shared market is the only way that it would work.
San Antonio and Austin.
Right? So you build it in New Braunfels or San Marcos, or even if it's a Circuit of Americas, which is South Austin. San Antonio would fail miserably as a host city for an MLB team. We can, on our own, host an NFL team.
But the people of San Antonio would definitely get behind a football team, a pro football team.
An NFL football, not this Brahmas bullcrap.
Brahmas were horrible.
None
and
of this
that other one, Caballeros
gunslingers and all of that stuff. None of that. If an NFL team, if the Saints had stayed in San Antonio back in the early 2000s after Katrina, we would have loved and supported them. And beyond all that, they would be a bigger entity. And the Spurs could win title after title after title. It doesn't matter.
NFL
is king, and the NFL team makes it.
They bring in the ratings every single year because people love watching pro football.
Right.
They have a very loyal fan base. The NFL does, and they know it. They know that it doesn't matter what the team's record is. The fans are going to tune in and they're going to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And if San Antonio built it, they would come, but they'd have to have guarantees from the NFL that, hey, you know what? Let's pick a site. Let's go ahead and build an arena, what have you, and get it done. But that's not going to happen.
It's not unheard of to have this shared market, like you mentioned, Joe.
Yeah.
The Texas Rangers play in between Dallas and Fort Worth. They don't play in Dallas. They don't play in Fort Worth. They play in the middle.
The Metroplex.
In the Metroplex, right? They're the middle ground of the two. Whether you want to admit it or not, San Antonio and Austin will be a Metroplex in the next 5 or 10 years.
And what does that
It's
also
already
mean?
starting.
San Marcos?
Yeah.
New Braunfels?
It's already starting, Joe.
The melting pot, everything coming together?
Joe, when we were in high school back in the 90s, I remember going from San Antonio to San Marcos, right? It's a 40-mile drive from the outskirts of San Antonio to exit 206, which is where Texas State is. There was very little between Retama Park and exit 186, which is New Braunfels. And then once you got past 186 and around 189, there was very little until you got to the outlet malls. And even then, it was just the outlet malls.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, you go from San Antonio to Austin, there's no rural area. San Antonio bleeds into New Braunfels, which bleeds into San Marcos, which bleeds into Buda, which bleeds into Kyle, which bleeds into South Austin. We're all coming together whether we want to or not. San Antonio is growing north, Austin is growing south, and we're going to collide. And when we collide, we're going to be the 15th largest market in the United States. We have to embrace Austin, and Austin has to embrace San Antonio because it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Look at Wesley Perkins, what he's saying. He goes, San Antonio is not a minor league town, but the more the minor league teams come, the more turned off fans are.
We are a minor league town because we have minor league money. I mean, San Antonio is a tourist trap, which is great. We have the Missions, we have the Alamo, we have Fiesta Texas and SeaWorld, but we're a tourism town, right? We're a tourism town. We're Corpus Christi, right? We are Corpus Christi with a Spurs team. We have what, 2 million people here? We're a poor town. We ain't got nothing here. The money isn't here, and the white collar jobs are not here. They're not. AT&T, their headquarters, what is it, Joe? Gone.
Went
to Dallas. New Star Energy,
gone. They folded, bro.
Well, they got bought out by Sunoco. The big good jobs move. Kelly Air Force Base, gone.
Well, that was downsizing because of military.
But still, it's gone.
Yeah, but the funny thing with New Star, though, is I know the story behind it, is that the CEO of Valero at the time didn't agree with the direction.
Yeah, Bill Gree.
So he left, and he went ahead and founded New Star Energy.
Yeah, so I guess the point of it all is that the good jobs eventually leave San Antonio. Who's going to be marketing to an NFL team or a Major League Baseball team in San Antonio? Bill Miller's? HEB is not big enough to do that.
Why not?
They're not. They're the number one grocery store in the country. I mean, properly ranked as such. But they're not going to be an entity that can. We're not going to have the HEB Dome the San Antonio Jaguars.
You know what's funny is that everybody that's from Texas, especially like San Antonio, down here in the lower part of Texas, everybody's like HEB reigns supreme.
Yeah.
But if you leave, you actually even go to another state, like Kansas, for example. They have another store out there, grocery store, not Kroger's, any of that stuff, or Winn-Dixie's and all that.
Randall's.
No, it's called Dillon's.
Dillon's.
Dillon's low key is better than HEB, bro. I ain't gonna lie. You go in there and Dillon sells a little of everything, right? And you go in there and you're like, wow, this place is nice and clean. Like, it's modernized. Like, even like when you're looking at the freezer aisle, they have like touch screens, right?
Yeah.
All over the place that show you where everything's at and how much things cost and the calories and all that in there. It's like really cool stuff, man.
I will say HEB is number one, dude.
Saying there's other offerings.
My daughter lived on the East Coast for a little while.
Yeah.
She loved Publix.
Yeah.
And everyone raves about the in-house food at Publix. I've never had it, but everyone seems to rave about it.
HEB's all right, but I'm saying there's other offerings out there.
Yeah, Jason Garcia says Hy-Vee is big in Nebraska. But the thing is, Joe, is that San Antonio could not support a baseball team. That's 81 games a year, Joe.
Yeah.
81 games a year ain't ever going to happen. It doesn't matter what side of town they build it on. If it is a hybrid between San Antonio and Austin, that could work because you have a city of 2 million people up north and a city of 3 million people below, and they can then make their way up 35 or down 35 to make that happen. NFL, though, in San Antonio would rule supreme, and the Spurs would be an afterthought. They play at the same time of the year. NFL season starts in September. NBA season starts in October. They run concurrently, and the Spurs would be swallowed up, and that's why they would not want an NFL team here.
You know what I like? Poking the bear with Tony Ornelas. He says, Mike comparing Corpus to San Antonio is like Cowboys compared to my boys. The Spurs bad, false. No? What do the Spurs and the Cowboys both have in common right now?
Arrogance.
No. That both fan bases will root for a winning or losing team.
Yeah. And there's arrogance in the front office. There was arrogance with Popovich. There was arrogance with R.C. Buford. The same way there's arrogance with Jerry and Stephen Jones. I compared San Antonio to two cities, Laredo and Corpus, right? And Corpus, because Corpus is a tourism town. That's you go to Corpus to visit. You don't go to Corpus to live. And if you get a good education, Joe, if you live in Corpus, Joe, and you get a solid education in a very, very good field, you ain't living in Corpus.
Look at this. Everybody's so like HEB or bust. And they're like, I've never heard anyone say, let's go to Dillon's. Get the F out of here, Joe. Well, you've probably never been to a Dillon's.
Well, I'm an HEB guy. I've been I go hang out with Chica. There's an HEB over there. She believes that HEBs have races, by the way. She goes, are we going to the white HEB, the black HEB, or the Mexican HEB? Because she says Each HEB has its own personality.
What's the one over there by downtown? What street is that one off of?
That's on Houston Street.
No,
not Houston Street. That's
what is it called?
It's the one behind the dome.
Yeah. They have that little HEB, that small one out there.
Yeah, that's the black HEB.
Southtown.
Yeah.
No, that one's a fancy one.
Oh, the South HEB is the one. That's the fancy little one. That's like
they have the pizzeria.
That's the neighborhood HEB.
Yeah, that one's nice, dude.
Yeah, that's like a Costco HEB type of thing.
Yeah.
But there's West Side HEBs. That 3-story one or that 2-story one on Highway 90. That's a Mexican HEB.
What's wrong with that one, bro? You ever been in there?
Alamo Heights HEB? White HEB.
Oh my God! What's wrong with the one that's out there by 90 on the side of the road there on the access road?
Oh, because you have to put your cart on the conveyor belt.
Yeah, go up.
It goes up and then it comes back down. And parking's stupid.
The parking's dumb over there because it's so small on the bottom, and then the second level is where they have the HEB.
Yeah,
and that HEB, when you finally get into it, it's so tiny.
And there ain't nothing in there.
It's small.
Ain't nothing in there. That one downtown by the Bill Miller's headquarters is very, very, very nice.
Yeah.
My daughter goes to that one.
You know which one else is nice? They're building an actual HEB over here, a new one by UTSA closer. But the one that's right there off of Bandera, the biggest one that they have here in San Antonio, that one's nice.
Which the one on 1604 in Bandera?
Yeah, 1604 in Bandera.
That one's a madhouse to get in and out of, man.
It's so packed, dude.
It's crazy. What the best HEBs in town. This is a great conversation piece, Joe, because there are good HEBs and there's some that are just like they're all right. Like FM 78 HEB is the worst one that I've come across. FM 78 in Walsham in that area. Well, it's not Walsham, it's Rittiman. That is a terrible HEB. That's the one that on Austin Highway and Eisenhower by where I used to work, San Antonio Sports Star.
Well, what's that one?
That's a terrible one.
What's that one, Mike?
That is
what is it? That's
homeless HEB.
Oh, there it is.
I swear they don't have an air conditioner in there.
You know which one is the HEB you go to just to get it done? The one over here on Marbach, bro.
Las Palmas HEB is where you have to wear a bulletproof vest when you go.
Right across from the cemetery.
Yeah. The San Fernando Cemetery.
Yeah.
Rob Thompson from San Antonio Sports Star and I did a episode of the Blitz, I believe is what it was. We did the Blitz inside of the HEB on 281 in Evans. It was so nice in there. It was so weird doing a show where all you hear is boop, boop, boop. They had us by the cash registers, dude, doing a show, and people were just watching us. It was like we were like a fish in a fishbowl. People just watched us do a show. That was funny. But that's a really nice one, Joe. Have you been to the Fair Oaks one? That one's really nice. The wider the HEB.
Hey, the one that they have further up, Petrenko, going past 1604.
The 211 one. That's a really nice one. That was my old one.
And then they have that other one that's over here by Alamo Ranch.
Yeah.
Remember the new one that they have out there by Alamo Ranch?
That one's nice. A lot of traffic there.
Yeah.
I met Sam Salinas, who is one of our regulars there. I met him at that place about 2 years ago. I was going to church, and on my way home from church, I stopped by that HEB and I met Sam Salinas there in the cold cuts aisle by the deli.
Look at July 26 says HEB Plus sucks. You know what? There's no lies in that statement, man, because they ruined the one on Marbach. The HEB as it stood, the old HEB on Marbach, it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful. You could go there and eat, and then you could go get your Chinese food afterwards, man. Just throw it down.
Back in the day.
Throw it down, dude. But now
HEB Marketplace was the one for that. The one on West Lakes, had a good Chinese restaurant.
They ruined that one, dude, when they changed it to HEB Plus.
Sam Salinas says, "Yes, we met in the deli." He remembers.
Yeah, we're talking about meat.
And then, his next comment, I would rather not talk about here. He says, "Mike and I slapped hams together." Really?
Oh, there you go. Oh God,
that's brutal, Joe.
What about how would you classify the HEB on Marbach?
Well, that's a Mexican HEB.
What are you gonna say? That one's what, the ghetto HEB?
No, Las Palmas is more ghetto than that one, right?
Yeah, man. You know what? Every time we go to this one on Marbach, dude, no lies, there's always people trying to get into it in the parking lot, dude, like wanting to fight. It's funny, man. I almost saw a lady yesterday when I was going to pick up my medication.
Yeah.
From the HEB pharmacy on Marbach. She's trying to cross the street. Some car almost ran her over, dude. Like something's always going on at this HEB.
Yeah. I mean, Southwest Military HEB is the same way, has the same vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not Mexican HEB, that's the Mexico HEB. There ain't no English spoken inside the Southwest Military HEB. The one on that would be what, the west side of 35.
Yeah.
That one's pretty bad. Reminds me, you talk about HEB Plus. They got rid of some HEB Pluses. I've told the story before, but I don't know if you remember, Joe. I had a client who was really high up in HEB. No longer my client anymore. But long story short, I told him that I was going to go buy a TV, and he goes, "Hey, go to this HEB on 1604 in Petranco. Go to that HEB." I'm like, "I live in that area." He goes, "Go to that HEB at 6 in the morning and go to the TV section. You'll be pleasantly surprised." I went over there, Joe. Showed up at 6 in the morning because he told me to. He was like, "Wink, wink, go over there." They got rid of their HEB Plus and they put everything on clearance. The TVs, Joe, that were $800 to $1,000, I got for $100. I bought 3.
Yeah, they're going cheap. That's when they had their super clearance.
Yeah, but I was tipped off to it all.
Yeah,
by someone pretty high up at HEB.
Yeah, they just wanted to get rid of it. That's when HEB Plus used to be in its prime. They had video games. There were some stereo systems, Bluetooth speakers, TVs, VCRs at the time.
But here's the thing.
Players.
It looked great. No one bought.
Nobody bought anything over there because they were there for the groceries. And then they had clothing, and they even had furniture in the front and all that. They got rid of all that stuff.
They were saying the volume of what they sell, that they would rather sell like $3 items on those shelves. The volume that goes by, people buy.
Yeah.
But the TV, the $800 TV, $1,000 TV, no one's going to buy.
You know what?
It just stays up there forever.
You know what they even did to try to enhance the buying experience back there in the electronics aisle?
Yeah.
They had layaway. They had it advertised layaway, and you'd put down so much and you'd pay every other week or something like that. They had a sign out there, and people would actually put stuff on layaway there.
Okay, so that reminds me of Stewie from Family Guy.
Yeah.
If you're using layaway, you have to look at each other and go, "Are we poor?" Joe, I went to the new Bill Miller on 211 and Petranco yesterday.
Yeah.
Let me say this, Joe. It is beautiful. It looks like an airport. You know, they have the double drive-through.
Mm-hmm.
Inside. It's beautiful. But you know what? I didn't like it.
You didn't?
I didn't like it. First of all, the brisket was greasy as F today, Joe. Yesterday. I'm going to go get really good brisket today. I am going to, let's see here. My client is telling me
you're going to badmouth Bill Miller's. You said you went to Bill Miller's yesterday. Tell us about that.
I mean, I had the brisket and it was gross. I had a piece of fried chicken.
What do you mean it was gross?
It was greasy and fatty.
It was no flavor?
It just tasted like grease.
Manteca.
Yeah. So I'm going to the south side, I believe, for barbecue today. So I know it's
is
good.
it that all you can eat buffet?
No, dude. This is a restaurant. I'm texting my client right now to ask him what's the name of it all. But it's a pretty good, let me see here. B&B Smokehouse is where I'm going to. Where is that, Joe? I've been there before. B&B Smokehouse was really good. That's on Pleasanton Road, 2619 Pleasanton Road.
I was going to show you, man.
I'll be there at 12:15.
Let me show you a picture here. You want to tell us about this, man? What the hell was going on here? Picture of your feet, bro. They're putting honey on your feet like they're glazing a ham or something.
Yeah, so we were talking about, okay, so if you scroll up a little bit to the whole conversation, Angel, Valerie's boyfriend, are good friends, both of them on Spurs Twitter, was talking about how he was joking around about Michael and his 1099s and, you know, whatever the case may be. And he goes, Michael likes to get pedicures in the Woodlands. Well, I showed photos of getting a pedicure, but this one right here that Chica got me, I didn't go up to them and say, hey, I want honey on my legs. Okay. But Chica was the one who got this for me. It was $80. You got a full-on pedicure where they grate the bottom of your feet to make it smooth, right? They clip your nails. They gave a 15-minute foot rub. They put honey and fruit all over you, fruit juices, and then they massage your leg.
That's gross.
And then they go and they massage your shoulders. They take you to a chair and they massage your shoulders. It was gooey, dude.
What benefit does honey you get out of that being poured on your legs, bro? That's disgusting.
I'm gonna look it up. Benefits of honey on skin. Let's see here. It says
disgusting.
Honey offers, according to AI Overview on Google, it says honey offers various benefits for the skin, including moisturization, anti-aging effects, exfoliation, and assistance in treating acne and skin conditions.
And this is what Angel was telling you. He always says that while getting the petties over in the woodlands.
Ted
I'm
DiBiase.
rich and you're not.
Jeff Garcia, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Do you remember his sidekick there? I remember his name.
I don't remember.
Virgil.
Virgil. That's it.
Remember? Oh, God, man. He was so degrading to Virgil. He would do some pretty extreme stuff to him, dude.
Yeah.
It was a different era, man.
It was.
It was a totally different era.
Mario asking, did they squeeze your junk? No, because that's Chica's job. Tony says Chica wants honey on his leg, so you do it. That's right. That's right. July 26th, the honey made Mike begin to throb.
Rip Virgil.
Man servant Virgil. How did he die?
He got died back in the day, man. A couple years ago, I think it was. Poor Virgil, man. After that fiasco there, he actually was a wrestler for a short period of time in the WWE.
Yeah.
He went legit.
I didn't realize that he was referred to as the manservant. That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and this is what we were talking about earlier because we got a little distracted talking about HEB. But we're talking about some of the comments that were had here by one Michelle Beadle. Because it says here by courtesy of Front Office Sports, Michelle Beadle is losing her time slot on Sirius XM radio to Stephen A. Smith. And Beadle gave her unfiltered opinion on the situation to M. McCarthy Rev, including her opinion about Smith. I don't respect him. I don't respect his work. I think he gets things wrong all the time.
Yeah, so Michelle Beadle got shown the door by ESPN back in the day. She rose to fame, obviously from the Bernie area, went to UTSA, graduated from there, was popular on ESPN, did a lot of shows over there, did a lot of NBA shows, was also with Colin Cowherd for a good while on the Herd. That's the path that she took. She has been doing stuff for FanDuel. She was doing part of did a Spurs broadcast with they did an all-female broadcasting team early this year that had Carolina Teague and Katie Goodman among them all. And Michelle Beadle's trying to get the best of both worlds. She's trying to live in the San Antonio area and still have a national platform, right? Because you can do that, right? All you need is a camera and a studio, and you can just blast out to wherever you need to go. No one needs to be. Adam Schefter doesn't do reports always from studio. He's doing it from home half the time.
Yeah.
So you can do that. The problem with Michelle Beadle is that she's good, but she's not great.
Oh, bro. Why?
She's a great sidekick. When she was with doing her things on NBA broadcast, she was fine. She did a very good job. She's great feeding off of somebody, right? She was great feeding off of Colin Cowherd. She was amazing. Max Kellerman or whomever.
Yeah.
She was very, very, very good. Excellent at being the sidekick. I've seen some of her shows. I'm not going to say that I've seen all of them, but I've seen them a handful enough to have an opinion on it. She doesn't drive a show very well. It's boring. Okay. What drives her shows are her guests, which is good because she needs that. She's not very good on her own. She's good as a duo.
She's got that show on FanDuel.
She's good. It's not great.
How did you think about it? What did you think about it when she was commentating over here alongside Sean Elliott when they were calling the Spurs games?
I personally like her, and I would love to meet her. Wasn't a fan.
Didn't care for her?
Wasn't a fan. And I'm not the kind of guy who's out there saying, oh, it's because you don't like female broadcasters. Because you know I am a big advocate for female broadcasters. I'm proud of Katie Goodman. I'm proud of Carolina Teague. And I want to see more female voices out there, whether it be Doris Burke or whomever.
Well, her job's on the line too.
You know, Rachel Nichols has been amazing for many years. Rachel Nichols can run a show.
Yeah.
Rachel Nichols has the alpha mentality of, I can run a show. I'm driving the show. It's personality driven. It's data driven and all that stuff, and can be the air traffic control of it all.
Yeah, but ESPN wanted her out. They pushed her out.
Right. Rachel Nichols, good, very good at what she does. Joy Taylor is amazing at what she does. People hate on her, whatever. They go on her looks and all that stuff. Joy Taylor is a dime. She's a super hot woman, but guess what? She knows her sports and does a very, very good job. I don't think Michelle Beadle does a very good job of directing a show on her own. She's good in pairs, good in partners. There's nothing wrong with that, Joe. There's nothing wrong with saying that she needs a co-host or she needs to feed off of somebody else's energy. There's nothing wrong with that, Joe. And what was ESPN going to do? Or Sirius or whatever? If given the option of Michelle Beadle or Stephen A. Smith, of course you go with Stephen A. Smith. That's the bigger name. There's only one name that might be bigger than him, and he works in that network already, in Pat McAfee.
Now, Jordan Ellis says, Mike is ticking me off because of your blasphemy towards Michelle Beadle.
Yeah. So Sam Selena says, Michelle Beadle has great knowledge and the ability to make the spoken and informative points, takes, observations. I don't like that she seems to take on a ditzy persona on air, and that's not helpful. I mean, that may be part of it, but I don't know, Joe. Like it's there's a fine line between look at the Kelsey brothers. We saw them earlier, right? We saw Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey. They do a very good job of hosting a podcast that is simultaneously entertaining both visually and on air, whether it be Spotify or Sirius or XM or whatever, right? I don't think she has mastered that yet. I think the studio is kind of weak. I like Michelle Beadle. She's really good. She's not great. And what was Sirius going to do? If they had a choice, do you want Stephen A. Smith or Michelle Beadle? 100 out of 100 ADs, the directors, station directors would have taken Stephen A. Smith over her. But I do respect the fact that she's going out and talking shit. I do respect that. I do respect that she's going out and saying, hey, this guy's a jackass. He probably is.
Probably is.
You see the way that he speaks to his co-hosts. He got rid of Max Kellerman because Max Kellerman was smarter than him. Simply put, not as driven as Stephen A. You got to be ruthless to be successful sometimes. He's very, very ruthless. Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. Let's see what he's doing on Locked On Spurs.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
That's right, at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter and Threads. More than 7,000 subscribers on YouTube. I follow along on Spotify. I take those trips to go see Chica, and I go back and forth between San Antonio and Conroe, and I listen to Locked On Spurs all the time. You can check them out. And you were mentioning something, Joe.
Yeah.
That Wemby has gone from playing horse on the north side with some kid to go into the Far East. What's going on over there?
Yeah, so courtesy of Jeff G, at Jeff G Spurs Zone on the X. Jeff says that looks like Victor Wembanyama made a stop in China, Beijing, China, to visit the country and more. So he was just in San Antonio earlier this week, made the trek over there to Beijing, China, out there doing his thing. Looked like he's enjoying some of the food and interacting with some of the fans out there, because over in China, they have a big, humongous NBA fan base out there.
Oh, most definitely. And a lot of people are like, well, shouldn't the NBA go after China for human rights, this, that, and the other? No, the NBA is a business. They're out, because those who throw those stones, look at your clothes. Guess where they're made? China, Malaysia, Vietnam.
Yeah.
Why would the NBA care if you don't care?
Or Mexico. It's made in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. So good for Victor Wembanyama for going out there and doing his thing. Outstanding. One more person to give love to is our good friends over at MCS General Contracting with that Diamond Hard Concrete. When we come back, though, we're going to spend time talking about the NBA Finals because they kick off tonight, Game 1 between the Pacers and the Thunder. Do the Pacers have a chance? Let's talk about it, but here's some love for MCS.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
MCS with that Diamond Hard Concrete. They do a fantastic job. We have that number for them. That's area code 210-774-9155 for your concrete placement needs. I've used them before. They did a sidewalk and a concrete patio extension to my yard. Fantastic job. Help with the resale value. They did an amazing job. Give them a call. 210-774-9155. Joe, NBA Finals tonight. Oh, before we go to that, here's my number, 210-508-0369. If you have any questions about retirement planning, questions about life insurance, disability, long-term care, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, if you have an advisor, I don't steal business, but here's the thing. If you don't like that advisor, I'll be glad to take that business. 210-508-0369. Here's the thing about investments, Joe. I will say this. People don't realize that there's a way to insure your investment from downside losses. Market goes up, market goes down, right? A lot of advisors, they hide, man. They flee like cockroaches when the lights turn on whenever the market goes down because clients get freaked out. A lot of my clients don't because I make sure that they are protected on the downside more often than not. It's an interesting way of doing it. I also do life insurance. I do people who inherit money, things like that. 210-508-0369. If you have any financial questions, give me a call, give me a text. That's my cell phone number. Joe, NBA Finals gets going tonight. I have the Thunder in 5. I think that this is going to be a blowout of biblical proportions. I think Game 1's going to be interesting. I think that this is going to be a close game tonight. I think that it's going to be within the margin of the spread. So if I'm going to bet this game, I'm going to bet Indiana spread, but I would bet money line on Oklahoma City. But I think after this game, I think that the Thunder win by like 3 tonight, and then it's going to be blowout city the rest of the way. Gentlemen sweeps. Oklahoma City's going to win on their home court in 5.
OKC in 5?
Yeah.
I got the Pacers in 6. I think the Pacers are going to win tonight, and they're going to surprise and shock the league. They're going to shock the world.
Okay. Give me your reasons for it.
I think that they've doubted or discounted what the Pacers can do, and they think the Pacers are going to go ahead and be better than advertised, and they're going to be able to steal one on OKC's home court, starting with the game tonight.
If you're going to steal one, it's tonight.
Yep.
It's tonight. Oklahoma City wins this game, series over. I'm sorry, I know it's a best of 7, all that stuff. You need to steal Game 1 off the bat if you're Indiana Pacers. You have to.
Yep.
And that's why I think Indiana's going to come out and ball out. I know we have Jonathan C. who watches. Jonathan C., if you're on there, please talk about the fact that I've been giving you some good tips. You've been mentioning that to me in the past about my predictions when it comes to things. I think the Pacers are going to come out and be really tight, Joe. I think it's going to be a battle royale tonight. But I think Oklahoma City comes out on top. Everybody's
saying Thunder in 6, Thunder in 6. I'm just saying, I think it's going to be the Pacers in 6.
The problem with the Pacers, Joe, who are you going to key on if you're Indiana? Because look at that 3-headed monster that Oklahoma City has. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's the MVP. You have Jalen Williams. You've got Chet Holmgren. They have the shooting, they have the drive, they have the youth, but the important thing, and this is why I think Oklahoma City is going to win. Oklahoma City has better depth. I think that they have fresher legs, younger legs. Oklahoma City has been waiting. Oklahoma City hasn't had to go through as many battles. I mean, people have been making fun of Indiana for what they went through. They went through a Cleveland team that was hurt. They went through a Boston team that lost Tatum, and they went through a dysfunctional New York Knicks team. And they're saying, well, that's the reason why they're in the finals, and they're discounting that. I don't think that that's the case. I think that they were the team of destiny to get into the finals. But at some point, the better team wins a series. Both teams are healthy. Who's the better team? The better team is the one that went 68-14. Oklahoma City.
Records don't mean shit, though, when it comes to the NBA Finals.
I understand that, Joe. But what I am saying, though, is that this team is stacked. That roster that they have is stacked.
But you know, one thing that has not happened to OKC that they're overdue for that could happen in these NBA Finals, injury.
It could. And
that could change.
That changes the complexity of everything.
Yep.
That knocked Boston out.
Yep.
That knocked Boston out. But Lou Dort, let's see what he does against Tyrese Halliburton.
You know who OKC's ringer is?
Who's that?
Freaking Caruso.
Okay, let's talk about that. Dort and Caruso going up against Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton has had a coming out party. I know he was an all-star beforehand. Getting on the cusp of being a potential star in this league, like a legit star. He thought he won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, right? But then when they called Pascal Siakam's name, he freaked out. You know, he was like, "Oh, well, my bad." Oklahoma City gets the offense from SGA, gets the offense from Chet and Williams, right? But for them to have the ability to send out Caruso and send out Dort to play defense is remarkable, Joe.
Dude,
those guys lock down guards like crazy.
Caruso plays some lockdown defense sometimes in the clutch fourth quarter, dude.
Yeah.
He comes up big time for them. We've seen it, you know. He's guarding players that are bigger than him, that weigh more than him, but he's able to go ahead and go toe to toe and keep them honest. You look, we got an incoming super chat here.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Jonathan C, dude, he praised me the other day. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about what goes on in the DMs, but he praised me the other day by saying, "Michael, I take your sports betting opinion." He goes, "I've been racking up some money on this one." He's been doing like first parlays of first half and second half parlays.
Yeah.
I mentioned, oh, this team's going to do well at first, blah, blah. He goes, dude, you've been hitting on all of these this NBA playoffs.
There you go.
So what did I say? He says, I'm locking in Pacers plus 9.5. OKC money line, let it ride. I think it's going to be a close game. I have Oklahoma City by 3 tonight. But I believe games 2 will be a blowout. I believe the Pacers will win game 3. They'll lose game 4. And it'll wrap up on game 5 on Oklahoma City's court. Personal belief. But again, why? Because it's just a better team. I mean, who are they going to stop? And we talk about Caruso and Dort. Those guys can make threes, Joe. It's like they have 2 Danny Greens, 2 prime Danny Greens. Someone who can lock somebody down defensively, or 2 prime Bruce Bowens. That's what they have, Joe. When the Spurs had the ability to have Tim, Tony, and Manu do what they do, and oh, by the way, we're going to lock you down with Bowen and Green. That's exactly what Oklahoma City is doing right now. They're like, we're gonna outscore you, outgun you with Williams, SGA, and Chet. And oh, by the way, defensively, we're gonna knock you down. And these defenders, they can knock down threes. Lou Dort, 40% 3-point shooter the last 10 games.
Yeah.
Last 7 games, rather.
And they've been saying, you know, the one thing that OKC has on the Pacers is size. You know, and basically they can go ahead and wreak havoc by pounding the boards, getting inside the paint, and getting some easy shots, getting to the free throw line.
Jonathan C says he's plus $700 taking my picks. Joe, you're a Pacers fan, or they've become your Sancha team for this playoff run.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, I like the way that they've been playing.
They are a fun team. 50-32 on the regular season. They took out the 1 seed in the Cleveland Cavaliers. They took out the former champion in the Boston Celtics. They took out a resurgent Knicks team. The Pacers are not scrubs. The problem with the Pacers, Joe, I don't think they have the depth. I think they can go toe-to-toe for 3 quarters, but I think at the very end, they don't have the depth. Pascal Siakam, who averaged more than 30 points per game in the Eastern Conference Finals, needs to duplicate that. Tyrese Halliburton needs to play the series of his life.
Yeah.
Aaron Nesmith has to show up every game. The problem is that for the Pacers to win games, it seems as though all things need to go perfectly for them. It's like Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott, right? Dak Prescott, if one thing goes wrong, Cowboys lose.
Well, that's not necessarily true, and I'm going to push back here with you because the Pacers can get their ass handed to them for the first 3 quarters, even halfway through the 4th quarter. But let's not forget that they've shown that they can come from behind and win games.
And yes, they've had 3 games where they've been down by 7+ points. 1 7-point loss, a 7-point deficit, 8-point deficit, a 9-point deficit. In all 3 rounds where they were down that much with a minute to go in the game.
They were once
less.
down by 17 points, I think, and they came back.
It was like 17 with like 4.5 minutes to go. They were down 9 with 47 seconds to go. But all of that was magical, Joe. Like all the different things that needed to happen.
Shit.
Yeah, all the things that needed to happen happened, right? So I'm not saying that they can't come back, but what I'm saying is that for them to win, weird crap needs to happen. And I don't think it's going to happen to Oklahoma City because Oklahoma City's hungry. And I think that fan base is very good. It's a very tough crowd. I think this is going to be an exciting game 1 tonight. I think it's going to be a blowout games 2, 3, and 5. But I think this is going to be the most exciting of the 7-game series. If Pacers come out and win this game, changes the complexion of the game, of the series, doesn't it?
And look at Spurs fans. This is funny to me. They said, look at Tony Arnella says, Chet talking smack. He is better than Wemby. This fool is just on a better team. And he said, they asked Chet, are you better than Wemby? And he goes, well, one of us is in the finals and the other isn't. Where's the lie?
Yeah.
Where's the lie?
They
said he's on a better team again. I mean,
he's on a better team with the better.
But
front
you know
office.
what? But the Spurs are a young team, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
How old is OKC?
Well, let's talk about this.
You know, they're one of the youngest teams, right?
I'm not saying defensively, Wemby is the best defender in the NBA. He would have won Defensive Player of the Year unanimously had he not gotten the deep vein thrombosis, right? Chet Holmgren is a solid defensive player because he's so tall also. He's 7'1". But I'm looking at his stats, Joe. For the season, he played only 32 games this year. Averaged 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists.
He did all right.
Shot 49% from the field, but 38% from 3. For his career in his first 2 seasons, he's shooting 37% from 3. An effective field goal shooting percentage for his career of 58.6. Offensively, I don't care if Spurs fans hate this. Offensively, as of right now, Chet has more game. He does. Right? Because Wemby's chunking up 30% clip from 3. Defensively, it's no joke.
Yeah, Wemby's a better player.
Wemby's a better player defensively. And overall, Wemby's a better player. Wemby's going to win MVPs in this league. Chet's not.
Yeah.
Chet's going to be an all-star in this league. He's not going to be winning MVPs. He's not going to be an MVP candidate.
But you know,
offensively, he's a better player. And this is kind of like saying Kevin Durant's a better player offensively than Wemby is too.
But I think what really irritates the heck out of Spurs fan is that Chet's going to hoist up an NBA final or NBA Finals trophy, right? Before Wemby.
He is. He's going to get it. And that's the joy and the fortune of Chet Holmgren to be drafted with a better team, right? With a better team. Wemby has gone out and scored 50. I don't think Chet Holmgren's done that, right? Wemby has gone out. So it's just the efficiency is better. I think that Wemby does more offensively in the sense that Wemby's better at running the break. Wemby is better at finishing breaks and cutting backdoor. But the three-point shooting, Chet's a lot better than. So I'm going to take back what I said, that Chet's better than Wemby offensively, because I think Wemby is more diverse in what he can do. It's just, man, if Wemby could shoot like Chet, it'd be game over for the NBA.
Look at Tony says it's not going to bother him that Chet gets a chip before
It better.
Wemby.
Oh, it better bother Wemby.
Chet has a ring before Wemby made the play-in. No lies.
Jason Garcia, Chet might be the Dan Marino of the NBA. Dan Marino never won a ring. No lies detected on that, Joe.
Look at that. They're saying Jurassic is saying, man, Thunder fans are going to talk so much shit about Chet having one ring over Wemby.
Oh, they will. They will. And you know what? We would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
We would have done the same thing. Were those photos of Chet Holmgren with the dreadlocks? Was that legit or was that AI?
I don't know.
Or
dude.
Photoshop?
I think that might have been photoshopped or something. Might have been photoshopped.
Joe, what are you and LG going to talk about tomorrow?
I don't know. We're going to dive into a little bit of nostalgia. I want to talk a little bit about music because that was a big topic of discussion the other day when we were going down memory lane when Rick was here and we're talking about music and how impactful it is because you remember certain songs, right? And it just takes you back to that era, to that point in time, you know? And we're talking about old school radios, you know, car radios and stuff like that. And everybody loved that nostalgia talk. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and maybe talk about some sports and, of course, entertainment news as well.
That's interesting, Joe. When you were growing up, when you were doing the Exit 7, and you were talking about like listening to your music, because Chica and I have this conversation all the time. Chica was all about R&B and hip hop, right? She liked the New Jack Swing. You know, she listened to TLC. She listened to, you know, Mariah Carey. She listened to Boyz II Men.
She listened to no Luther Vandross.
She loved all that.
Skinny Luther, fat Luther.
She loved both. More fat. She also listened to like Snoop and Dre and Tupac and
no Kenny
Biggie
G
and all that stuff. No, she was if it was on BET, she was listening.
Yeah.
I went to Holmes High School, which was for the most part a very diverse high school because it was predominantly Hispanic, but because of the Southwest Research Center, we had a large Asian population there. We had a rather decent size of African American and a white population there too. It was very diversified. It wasn't like Burbank High School, which is 99.9999% Mexican.
Yeah.
Right. It was probably like 50, 30, 10, 10 is what it was in my school. And I told her because of that, I listened to a lot of different things growing up. You know, not only did I listen to the R&B, the New Jack Swing, not only did I listen to like Dre and you know, Bone Thugs and all that stuff, Cypress Hill, all that stuff. But I also got introduced to things like SDP and Pearl Jam and
no Rage Against the Machine.
Well, stuff like that, right? Smashing Pumpkins, all that stuff. And I told her, I said, and then I had a lot of people who were really into bands like U2, Metallica, Pantera, Guns N' Roses, Def Leppard, to people who introduced me to things of new wave, from Pet Shop Boys to the Smiths and the Cure and REM and all these bands. I said when I went to high school, I listened to all of that.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff.
And she was like, I only listened to this.
Yeah, no.
So when it came to your music, did you listen to a wide variety?
Oh yeah, there was a wide variety of stuff. We listened to everything from Tejano. We listened to some country.
Well, Selena, Martin,
everything, dude. Because Tejano was big back in the day.
Yeah.
So we're listening to everything. That's when Emilio was coming out. You know, you had was it Clint Black? You had Garth.
Oh,
Brooks,
Garth Brooks.
You know,
George Strait.
Everybody, man.
Dude, I remember Clint Black was big for a while there. Okay, keep going.
I'm just saying. No, we had that. You even had like other bands that were up and coming. You had Snoop Dogg dropping his first album. That's when you're getting the West Coast vibe coming through. You know, Tupac. You know, we listen to everything, even to reggae music. You know, we're listening to Big Mountain. We're listening to, was it UB40, things like that.
Oh, red wine.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff was coming out back then. Even like the going into the grunge era. You know, it was a mixture of everything.
Tony Ornella says Chica was a homegirl. That's all. So Joe, talk about music. I saw a TikTok yesterday that I thought was kind of interesting. It was Montel Jordan.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny when you listen to these performers from the 90s go back in time and talk about what they were doing at the time and how they made their music, what their influences were and things like that. And Montel Jordan was talking about his biggest influence was Marvin Gaye. And he was talking about mood music, right? Where there was all these songs that would like simulate being in a bar, being at a club, being at a party, and then the song would start. and he's talking about, "Got to Give It Up," I believe, by I think that's Marvin Gaye.
Look at what
if I'm not
Jonathan
mistaken.
C's saying.
We're gonna get to that in a minute. Gonna get to that in a minute. But Montel Jordan was going off and saying that for the song "This Is How We Do It," he was trying to mimic the beginning 4 or 5 seconds of a Marvin Gaye song.
Yeah.
By inviting his friends and girls, these like hot girls and his friends in to the studio, and he said that he got them to drink a lot of beer and some alcohol, and that he was recording them, not knowing that they were being recorded, so that he could hear them like partying it up and talking, and all that stuff. And then he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna be singing the song. Will you sing the chorus? Will you all chant 'This Is How We Do It'?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Listen to the song." He goes, "I got these guys drunk, got them buzzed, and I had them sing. I'm singing along to the song." And he goes, "When I point at you, say 'This is how we do it.'" So he goes, "Go back and listen to that song." He goes, "You notice how the people who do the chant don't have good voices?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Those are just people who are buzzed, listening to my instructions. Those are my friends." And I thought that was funny. But he thought to himself, I don't want a classically trained or a good singer singing my backup. I want my drunk friends to be singing that because it's a party song. And I went back and I listened to it. And I was like, oh my God, that's true. Kind of like Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
The end of the song, the "Under the Bridge downtown." That part, I can't even hit that note. That's Flea's mom. And like a couple of people from her church. It's so funny though, man. So Jonathan C coming out with a hot take saying Selena is played out. Okay. I was not the biggest fan of Selena's music back in the day. And I famously or infamously, should I say, said that she would never have made it as an English singer. She might have had 1 or 2 hit songs, but she wasn't going to be this superstar. She wasn't going to be what Shakira is today. She wasn't going to be what Beyonce is today, like everyone else says. Because the person who was going to be that, Joe, was Aaliyah.
Baby Girl.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Great song. Selena was super talented in Tejano. Super regional, though. Super regional. Go to Spotify. See how many times people have listened to her music.
Mike, man.
It's the same people from San Antonio and Laredo.
We can never have nice things.
But here's the thing. My daughter, Ava, would go to elementary school dances, right? They would have daddy-daughter dance. And then she'd have middle school dances. And then I remember my former stepson, Justin, going to his prom and all that stuff. Or the homecoming dance.
Yeah.
They played Selena's music. Those kids get into it. They rush to the dance floor.
Yeah.
So it's not played out. It is regionally a big deal, right? But what I need for people to understand is that if you go north of Austin, no one's listening to it.
What about the Woodlands?
Yeah, I guess maybe. But you go north of Austin, definitely if you go north of Dallas, ain't nobody listening to Selena music.
So if I hung out with you and Chica and I put on some Selena, she'd be like, yeah, change the channel.
She'd dance to it. She likes to dance.
Yeah.
Homegirl's got some back. She likes to dance. That's what they do. Joe, in 24 hours, I'm going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada. You're going to be here with LG. I will be landing in Nevada tomorrow. We leave at 8 a.m. and we land there at 9 a.m. So we'll land here 11 a.m. San Antonio time. So we're going to spend 1 day in Vegas and then 2.5 days in Laughlin, Nevada, which is about an hour and a half south. So wish us luck, Joe.
Yeah, good luck. Look at what Jeff is saying from Locked On Spurs. He says Sirius XM is introducing an entire new channel for Selenas.
That's good. That family's got to keep milking it, baby. That Quintanilla family got to keep milking it. That's their cash cow. She was alive 23 years, Joe, but she died more than 30 years ago. And the family has made a fortune off of her, and she's iconic status. She's iconic status in certain areas, Joe.
Dawkins. God, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Judas Priest, Kiss, Rat. Well, I liked Rat. Scorpions. Nice.
You know, you were puro back in the day when you went to the freaking pulga and you came back with one of those freaking little wallets that had like the scorpions on it or something. Everybody had one. Velcro wallet.
I never went to solo serve as a child or a teen. I never went to the pulga as a teen. I've only gone to the pulga as an adult.
You never went when you were kids? You didn't go and get the bundle of those little matches? They were like little sticks and they had that little stuff on it and you would rub it on the concrete. They would sparkle and crackle and burn the shit out of you. But you used to play with it all the time.
Never. I don't even know what you're talking about, Joe. You know what were those things? And I've never had. I think I've only used it like once or twice. Those things where you would throw at people's feet and they go, "Pah!"
Oh, those are the pops.
Yeah, dude. I used to hate that crap, man. Where would people buy that?
Over there at the pulga, dude. They sell a whole bunch.
So
of
the pulga. That's why I never had any. I never went to the pulga.
Man,
I'm not anti-pulga. I like going to the pulga.
We used to go back in the day. They used to give us like $3 or $5 at the pulga. We'd be buying stuff like crazy.
Yeah. Hey, Rafa right there saying San Antonio is the heavy metal capital of Texas. I've been telling Chica that for a while. She didn't believe me, but her brother is a big time. He's really into music. He loves heavy metal. And he goes, dude, if you want to go to a heavy metal show, you got to go to San Antonio. He goes, that's where the big acts go. That's true. Dude, Iron Maiden can sell out the dome, dude. You know, if you brought out, what do we have recently? We had Def Leppard there. Dude, it's great, dude. San Antonio's
Red
really
Hot
good.
Chili Peppers
really good
come through too.
Yeah, Chili Peppers, dude. On the way back from Conroe yesterday, driving to San Antonio, I listened to about an hour of Chili Peppers. They're a great studio band. Live, they suck.
Really?
They suck. They're a studio
Kiedis can't
band.
sing live?
No. I mean, Flea can play live. The music is fine. Yeah, it's Kiedis, dude. Kiedis is a studio act. He
can't hold the tune?
He's the Britney Spears of rap rock, man. He's auto-tuned.
Bro.
I like this one guy on TikTok that sings Red Hot Chili Peppers songs, but he only sings one lyric at a time. Like he sings one lyric, but he sings it all like repeatedly. Like the band plays the whole music, and he does "Can't Stop Addicted to the Shindig." Can't stop addicted to the shindig. He just says that repeatedly throughout the whole song.
Look at Def Leppard sold out the Alamo Dome.
That's right. Joe, have you seen Joe, I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask this to those who are watching right now. What if you like a band, but they're opening up for a band that you would never go see or you'd be embarrassed to go see?
Like a K-pop band or something.
Almost as bad, Joe. The Jonas Brothers are coming to San Antonio. The Jonas Brothers are also coming to Houston.
I ain't seeing that, dude.
I don't want to see the Jonas Brothers. I mean, I like that Nick Jonas song. What's I still get jealous. That song. He's got one good song, right?
That's the one you jam out to.
Okay, that's on my running mix, right? So I don't want to see the Jonas Brothers, right? But the opening act, I'm not saying it's the manliest band, but they're a fun band. Okay. The All American Rejects.
All right.
I mean, you know, Gives You Hell, Dirty Little Secret,
I'm
Move
surprised
Along.
They never got bigger than they actually became, you know, because at one point they were on like the MTV Music Awards, right? But they were not on the main stage. They were like on this other side stage.
Yeah.
Oh, we got the All American Rejects, but they were popular. It just seems like they never actually crossed over.
They never became massive. They were popular.
They just didn't cross over to the mainstream.
And they're opening up right now for the Jonas Brothers. And if you follow, they go by the Rejects on Instagram and on TikTok. And if you follow them, what they're doing this summer is that they're doing pop-up concerts in people's garages where people can like, you know, say, hey, my address is this. Can you come play a concert here? And they've done it in LA. They've done it in Nashville. They've done it in other places where they're going up to different places to do off air.
That's right. Maybe we can go bring it back.
There you go.
Now we're back on.
Joe, Google search All American Rejects garage concert. And tell me what you think about this, because I like that, man. I like what they're doing when it comes to it. But their opening act, my daughter is wanting me to go to the When We Were Young concert tour.
Yeah.
And tell me if this is worth going to. Because again, Joe, what do we say, Joe? We're not going to sit with what?
The peasants.
Well, we're going to have to pay a lot of
Why
money.
do you always make me say it with your chest out? Don't be scared. You always say San Antonio's poor.
Joe, here is the festival that's going to take place October 18th and 19th in Las Vegas, right off the strip.
I know damn well you're going to go pay for those little seats in the bottom.
Yeah, dude, I have to go VIP.
Yeah. And why? Why,
Well,
though? The experience is better.
I don't want to sit with the peasants. I want to go to a nice restroom. I want a nice bar.
Yeah.
And I want some AC from every once in a while.
And you don't want to have to wait in line for 2 damn hours or 3 hours just to get into the venue.
Yes.
You know?
There are about 100 bands in the lineup. Panic at the Disco is the lead.
They had their time in the sun.
I've seen them 5 times. They're good.
They were over here at the NCAA Final Four years ago.
They were. They're going to sing A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, which is their first album. They're going to sing it cover to cover along with their other hits.
Yeah, Brandon Urie's been in some hot water.
He has been. Yeah. People fell off. Like his fans hated the fact that he sang that song with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
The song's called Me.
He's got into it with some of the band members too.
Yeah, they're all gone.
Yeah.
But I think they're coming back together for the show. Blink 182 is also performing. They're going to perform the entire album of Enema of the State. Weezer is performing along with Avril Lavigne, The Offspring, and Yellow Card. Those are the main stage for that show. They're going to have back-to-back performances. So it's the same lineup on Friday as it is on Saturday at the Las Vegas Festival grounds. Very, very nice.
Look at this.
But I don't want to be with the peasants for it. Ooh. Rafa says, I saw a lot of 50-plus-year-old Chi-Chis being showed at David Coverdale at the White Snake concert at the Majestic a few years ago. Here I go again on my own.
What was it? The Katani?
Tawny Katane.
Yeah, there you go.
I went to a concert. God, who was it? It was at the Majestic Theater. And there was this one girl who was like probably 45, 50 years old. She was attractive, but she strutted from the top all the way to the bottom row to like try to get the attention of the singer. And like the security was letting her do it. And we were all laughing. And we were like, man, get this girl has like kids in college. Get her off the stage. Yeah.
God. Jeff would ask a question. He was telling me about MLS from back, will the MLS ever come to San Antonio? No, they're not.
Too close to Austin. We have an MLS team. It's called the Austin FC.
San Antonio FC.
No, Austin FC is our MLS team.
Well, they have a semi-pro team here, SAFC.
Yeah, and our team beat Austin's team, in the friendly that they had.
Yeah.
That's funny, Joe. I'm gonna go play some I'm gonna go the casinos I'm gonna go visit. I'm gonna go visit Planet Hollywood tomorrow. In Vegas on the Strip, I'm going to go visit go downtown to Fremont Street. I'm going to hit up the Plaza. You have the Whataburger over there, right across from New York, or right along New York. And then I'm going to head over to Laughlin tomorrow night and go play some games over there.
You're going to go
you know
see
what?
The ruins of the Mirage?
Yeah, I know, dude. They're trying to get into the Hard Rock, right?
Yeah, some.
And then tonight, to get me all amped up after the NBA Finals, I'm going to watch Vegas Vacation.
God.
You know what? I think let's just call it a co-host for Monday also, or a fill-in for Monday as well.
All right.
All right.
See what we can
so
get
LG
in.
will be Friday. Let's see if we can get Spernandez or somebody for Monday.
No, I don't know he's going to be available Monday, but we'll see if we can get one of the boys come in and host.
Very nice. Very nice. Everyone have a fantastic day, Joe. We did an hour and a half of sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. Sam saying, when talking about Austin, keep San Antonio off your effing mouth. Blasphemy. Hey, if San Antonio people can cheer for the Dallas Cowboys because that's the closest or one of the closest NFL teams to San Antonio, if you're an MLS fan, wouldn't you cheer for Austin because it's the closest one? Isn't it the same thing?
No.
I think it is. I don't know. It's just soccer.
Put 1,020 or on 20 black.
On 20 black. There are some casinos out there, Joe, who are now doing a very good follow for those of you who are Vegas fans who like to go to Vegas. Go on to Instagram and follow Vegas Polly C. And he tells you where to go gamble in Vegas because they give you the better odds. And he was talking about how there's some casinos that he's encouraging to have only one green in the roulette wheel as opposed to 2 or 3. And he's telling you that the place to go play that has the best odds for you, off strip, is the Plaza.
Yeah.
Because the Plaza and El Cortez have the best odds. They've even the games that like has to hit on soft 17, they will stay on soft 17 over there. That they have rigged the games back into the player's favor. Don't get me wrong, the house still has an edge, but the edge isn't as big as it used to be at the Plaza and the El Cortez. So guess where we're gonna go, Joe?
El Cortez.
Plaza and El Cortez. That's what we're gonna go check out.
There you go.
Everyone have a fantastic weekend. LG will be here with Joe. Joe, anything else for today's show?
No, that's it, man. We're out.
Tonight, game 1 of the NBA Finals. And good luck, by the way, to the UTSA Roadrunners as they battle the UCLA Bruins this weekend. Best of 3 series. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It's going to be on ESPNU, I believe, for the first game.
I think ESPN, ESPNU.
Yeah. Good luck to UTSA out there. Represent San Antonio well. And I tell you what, Joe, if they go to the College World Series, I might have to use some miles to get over to Omaha. When will that happen again, right? They win this series, they go to the College World Series. Like, wouldn't you, as a UTSA fan, have to go to this game?
Yeah. Aren't the Texas Tech Lady Red Raiders going to compete tonight too?
Yeah, game 2 of the College World Series for the softball.
Yeah.
Last night I was watching part of that game, and I let's see here. Last night
had a controversial call right there.
Well, what happened?
They said that it was a obstruction call that they had. It didn't cost Texas the game, but it was a controversial call nonetheless, because they said that I think it was a UTSA player coming in, and they called it an obstruction call because she was tagged out.
Mm-hmm.
But over a technicality, they got to change the rule because of the obstruction rule. They deemed said player safe.
Really?
Yep. You got to go back and check it out. So it's one of those calls that it does need to be looked at the end of the season.
Yeah,
They
Texas defeated Texas Tech
do.
2-1.
Yeah.
You know what I found out? Not that I found this out, Joe, but I found this to be interesting. Chica, talk about deceptively athletic. Did you know that she played college softball?
I did not know.
She was a college softball player.
Cool.
On top of that, she was a very good college softball player and was nationally recognized as such. Do you know what she doesn't talk about? Her softball days.
Why?
She has no photos of her anywhere.
There's probably some somewhere.
It's like a tall tale.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you weren't that. You were in college. You were a college player. Okay, I believe that. You were really good. Yeah, you got all these scholarship offers. And then her brother was telling me about it the other day. She goes, "Oh my God, we used to go watch her go Chica play all the time."
Yeah.
And she was so good. She used to throw out people from as catcher. She used to throw out all these people. She would crank homers. And they're going, Chica? Deceptively athletic.
Oh, there you go.
So,
I had to ask her next time I see her.
Yeah. I told her I want to go to the batting cage. She goes, man, Michael, she goes, I haven't swung a bat in 20 years.
I would tell her, why don't you tell us about your days, playing softball.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Everyone have a fantastic weekend. Joe will be back tomorrow with DJ LG. I don't want to say go Thunder, but they're going to win tonight. See you guys tomorrow.
All right. Peace.